Welcome to Up and Comers of Hollywood. I am your host, Marie Finch. Today's guest is Juan Dubon, also known as JJ. He is a dancer, stunt actor, voiceover actor, a hand model, and a body parts double model. He has been on shows like Barry, Two and a Half Men, films, and music videos for various music artists, including Miley Cyrus. He can be seen on 200 national commercials like Toyota, Lexus, Honda, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Samsung, and so much more. And he's also been a body double for the Latin pop star Ricky Martin. We are so honored to have him here today. JJ, thank you so much for coming to Up and Comers of Hollywood. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
And what we do here, we talk about our journey, confess our challenges, and we celebrate the successes that we've had in this business.
Well, I was born and raised in Koreatown in Los Angeles, California, and it's been it's always been a road, like you have to just go with the flow, sort of. So one day you're doing this, and one day you're doing that, but it's been a wild ride. I started off doing background work when I was 14 years old. I had to get a parents, child work permit. My parents didn't know what the hell that was because I'm coming from like a Latino family, and they're like, "No, you're gonna go to college. You're gonna go to university. You're gonna have a title." It was like, "What is this TV bullshit?" like, like they didn't understand nothing besides the novellas that they watched. But it was a great experience because my brother that passed away, around 25, he was the one that got me into it. His first little foot in the door was during Training Day. That was a movie, Training Day, with Denzel Washington.
Yes.
So he was in it as a background artist, and he brought me in because they wanted younger kids, and that sparked me my interest of entertainment, and that was the start of my curiosity coming into entertainment. So I started doing background work, and then kind of got in the way a little bit, because of school. So I started doing print. I started doing print modeling. I was, young and skinny and and all those good things that they look for, I guess, at that time. So this is a story. I came in for my first print job, and the photographer, she was like, "I'm gonna let you know, you're probably not gonna get this job. You're not tall enough, to be a model of, of whatever client it was. But I'm doing she said, I'm doing a shoot tomorrow for Apple. Are you interested in coming in?" I'm like, "Are you guys gonna use my face? What kind of job is this?" I was so new. So she was like, "No, I really like your hands." I was like, "My hands?" And I'm like, just, 18 at that point. And I'm like, "Oh, whatever, just show up to the next casting, I guess." I mean, at least she was really truthful with me. I'm not like wasting my time.
Right.
So I came the next day, and I didn't know it was for Apple. It was like, they give you secret names of who the client is until you book the job. So I showed up, and I booked the job. And then she told me it was for Apple, and it was my first client for hand modeling.
And that was a national commercial.
Yeah, several national commercials. Entertainment always fluctuates, but at that time, it opened doors for me, and I was doing more commercials. And you know, my agent at that time, well, after the Apple job, it was like a big client. So then I took those tear sheets, which are like proof of your work. When it's printed, you literally tear it out of a magazine or something, or now it's digitalized, so you just save those pictures and send them to an agent if they want to, in case they want to represent you, or if you're looking for representation. So I sent those to an agent that was on the Tyra Banks show. She was on a segment saying, about body parts and like how it's like a division that not a lot of people know about. And I was in love with the Tyra Banks show back then.
I was too.
I was like learning so much, just from watching. And she was on there, and I was like, well, let me send my, tear sheets proof of work to that agency, and I was lucky enough for her to call me that same day, and she was like, "Can you come to my house?" I know. Usually, you don't go to anyone's house here in LA, like especially if they're like agents or managers. That's a no-no. But she had her agency, the back of her house, so to say. So I saw that she was reputable, and of course, she was on, this big TV show. So I was a little comfortable. I was like, sure, let me go to her house. So I did, and she decided to sign me for 7 years to represent me specifically for parts, which was my hands, so to say. Let's keep things a little bit clear. Parts could range, or there's so many parts of divisions, but I started off with hands.
And everyone, I'm looking at his hands. They are beautiful. I'm not trying to be weird or anything, JJ, but those are nice hands.
They are, except that a pro tip: don't eat hot Cheetos if you have a casting the next day because you'll have red fingers. Definitely. No cooking. I don't wash dishes. I'm sorry. I mean, I could, but there's been instances where, I was helping a friend move or something like that of that nature, and I was like washing her dishes, and then I just broke a glass, and that was like, it put me away for about a year because, I had to heal the scarring and such, things like that. So you really have to be careful, with your hands, even when driving. You have to put like SPF on your left arm because that's your driving arm because the sun, hits that arm so much. So you have to be careful even driving.
You said there's different part modeling. Have you done any other type of body part modeling?
I have. I've done feet.
Really?
Yes. But you know, it's kind of like a fetish, so to say, out here in the industry. You have to be careful where your pictures end up. So I don't really share like that I do feet.
Okay.
Because then everybody's like, "Well, let me see your feet." I'm like, "No, I don't know if you have a thing for it."
It's private. It's
It's private.
only it's professional. They're
Per-
professional feet and hands.
correct.
You were a body double for Ricky Martin. Tell us about that.
Yep, I was. When they offered me the job, it was basically like, "Are you available these days?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah." They didn't tell me who it was until I showed up. I was like, "Why is there so much security and paparazzis outside?" I'm like, "It's not for. Is it for me? Probably not." But I saw Ricky Martin coming out of his trailer, and I didn't know what to think. I was like, "Am I gonna be working with him directly, or?" And I just took that gasp, and I was like, "I'm actually gonna be his double."
You were booked for this
Yes,
project and you didn't know who was the artist
not at all.
until you saw him on set.
Correct.
Okay.
So I was gonna be doubling his hands for a commercial, and it was out in the beach, way out in the beach, pretty much deserted. And I was supposed to pretend I was texting on his phone. And the funny part is that it was his actual phone. Um, but I think that the surprise working with him was amazing, of course, but because I was working with his phone and it's so technical with like pressing the phone, like texting something on in the commercial, they didn't expect me to actually press it. But when you get your phone and you hoover around it, it accidentally sometimes just reacts to the press without pressing it. I don't know. I'm not sure how to describe it.
No, I understand that.
So the point of the commercial was me texting like I was Ricky Martin, sending out a message on his Twitter, and I accidentally pressed send.
Oh,
And this was like a live phone, live Twitter account, live. It was Ricky Martin's phone. And my heart dropped because I had texted the location as well. Within that sentence, I said, "We're at da 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 da, come party over here," or something of that nature. Like, Ricky Martin has millions and millions of followers.
Right.
Guaranteed within an hour, people showed up.
No way.
People showed up. And of course, my heart dropped when I sent it and I told production, oh my God, how do I delete this? This is like, why would you give me this
Why would
anyway?
you even do that?
Right. They should have had like a fake phone or something. But, they didn't blame me. It was just an accident, and they dealt with it later. But
That sounds like a learning moment for everyone on
everyone,
set.
everyone, yes, of course, because everybody almost lost their heads. They were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do now?"
So were
Like,
people outside the gates of this production?
yeah, they were out. They were in a public area. We were shooting at the beach, so people showed up, and that was that. I mean,
Let's talk about you as a dancer. How did that start and what did you do with it?
well, that started when I was like a little bitty bitty little kid. I would crash parties at the park. My mom was always trying to look for me. I'm like, where did JJ go? So they would try to find me, and sometimes, families have picnics at the park and celebrate people's birthdays or whatnot, kids' parties. And I'd be always intrigued of like going and crashing people's parties that had music, and I would just start dancing. And most of the time, they had contests for kids that they would dance, and then they would get like toys or whatever. So I was like in it for the toys, of course. But I did have long hair, and I was confused with a girl, and I had won a dancing competition of one of those parties that I crashed, and they gave me a doll. So I didn't mind it. I don't care. It's just a toy. And I came back to my parents. I was like, "Look what I won!" And they're like, "Why'd you get a doll?" I was like, "Well, I won a dancing contest." So that's pretty much how it started. Just being curious as a little kid and trying to win competitions. So then I just wanted to learn more how to dance and how to become, maybe in a competitive level. So I love to do like salsa, merengue, cha cha cha, and ballroom dance. As competitive as it's like a competitive sport, you could say. But also, I was intrigued in modern dancing. I like to express myself in body movements, even something called biomechanics that I learned. It's kind of like a Russian technique. I went to the Mimoda studio here in LA, and they would uh, teach you like just how to move your body without the typical dance movement. So it's more like a freestyle, free spirited modern dance. And I loved it too. And I did a couple shows there, and it brought me a curiosity of just where else can I take this? So I started doing music videos.
And
Yes.
one of them was Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, that was Miley Cyrus. It was like her second music video. Started her singing career. So she was barely transitioning from TV, from Hannah Montana or whatnot. She was very popular then as she is now. But I did do her second music video called All Over Again. And then I came back to do a second video for her as well. And that was pretty exciting.
So at this point, you were still modeling,
Hmm.
print modeling, and body part modeling. I hope I'm saying that correct.
Yes, body part modeling. Yes.
Body part modeling. A whole different career, everyone. And then dancing. So when did acting come into play? Or was that always there in between? Is that something you just kind of toggled from?
Yeah, it was always there in between. But with all these experiences that I was learning, it's always best to incorporate them all into something new. By me saying that is like dancing gave me the free body movement. It relaxed me. It helped me for commercials for hands of such as placing product with grace. There's a lot of things that come into hand modeling that you would never think that gracefulness and steadiness and just graceful movement helps you to do those jobs. Um, and that's how dancing came in play, and it helped me out. It helped me also into acting. It helped me know like my position in front of the camera, how to work with other people, because that's the most important thing is knowing how to work with your team. or them trusting you as well to get hired and to be able to work with everyone, even though you have the talent. Most of the time is not, and yes, we know it, it's not all about talent.
People really want to work with people they like.
Absolutely.
So, not being a problem on set and not, because business is money. This
Of course.
sitting on sets, it's every minute it costs the producers and the production companies. So they just don't need someone who who kind of stands in the way of that flow.
Right.
So if you could, act, and in your case, you danced and you have experience in front of the camera and behind the camera, that's important. And you're really likable.
Thank you.
I can say that.
Thank you.
He's likable.
It's like, don't bring any extra problems. So to the set, always be prepared, be early, be on time. Have a lot of gratitude, because once having gratitude, it's just gonna keep flowing into your life. Being prepared again, like I had mentioned, even if you have like a little duffel bag with change of clothes, even, a little kit for my nails, since I do a lot of, commercials for my hands, always be prepared. Because you never know when you're going to get called for a meeting or whatnot. So I keep a little, a little bag prepped for, like, if I need a nail
Well,
file or something
you
like
brought your
that.
bag.
I did. Keep in mind, I didn't like prep for this, because it's better if it's like just spur of the moment.
Right.
It
That's
does.
what I
It
love
doesn't.
about this podcast. Everything is just go with the flow. And his kit he brings with him. This is a serious hand model.
Yeah. So this is like a little, little Toomey bag or whatnot. You could get yourself, anywhere at a drugstore. Actually, it's just a little.
Yeah, Amazon is great for that stuff
Of
too.
course. Well, I have a couple things that it's really important too if you have sweaty hands. You don't want to have sweaty hands on set. So I use a face primer.
Really?
Yeah, I use a face primer. It stops, having like that sweaty feel. So now you can see that I don't have any now. But if you just put a little bit and use it like a cream.
I never thought about putting face primer on your
So
body parts to
yeah,
stop the sweating.
stop the sweating, and then stop, have more of a like a ready photo.
Because they
clean
do put
finish.
makeup on your hands, right?
They do sometimes. I mean, it depends on the budget. It depends on the client. That's why you always have to be ready and prepare yourself for any situation. Sometimes they have a makeup artist, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to do your own makeup, and that's why I have my own color. um, in case I need to
Is
cover
this
up.
a tint makeup?
It's a tint makeup, yeah. In case I have a spot or a scratch. In case you have cats at home like I do, I have 7. So that's another story.
7 cats.
Yeah.
Cat
So
lovers. That's great.
cat lover. I like using also lip balm for your cuticles if you don't have any cuticle cream.
Really? This is
So
great. These are great tips. I know we talk about tips at the end, and I'm sorry. I wanted to know what was in that bag. I couldn't wait.
yeah, so sometimes if you don't have any moisturizer or whatnot in your bag, if you have a lip balm, use your lip balm to have, if you have dry cuticles. So I mean, this is not my lip balm, but this is like an emergency lip balm that I could just carry around.
I'm going to start using lip balm on my cuticles now.
But then, of course, you have your actual cuticle cream, which is more of the fancy one you could just use before going bedtime. I use this one before I put my gloves in case I have like a commercial the next day. I'll use my gloves before I go to sleep, but I'll put this underneath the gloves, like, and just, your nails. And then you just go to sleep with them, and then you'll be super moisturized for the next day.
You know what we'll do for our listeners and anyone who's watching our YouTube video? I'll put the list from your kit.
Sure.
And we can, send them to where they need to go if
Mhm.
they want to get into hand modeling or just want to take care of their hands or in the business and just want to try some new products.
Yeah. And the one favorite tip that I have as well, thank you, is you could use any white crayon. This is a twist eyeliner. I don't use it for my eyes, but you could use any white crayon. In case you have like a yellow tip on your nails or something like that of the nature, if you want to make them extra crispy white on camera, you just take it and do it underneath your nail, just like so. And then you just rub the excesses off. And of course, you go wash your hands, but it gives you more of the clean nail look.
I would never have thought about that. Thank you so much, JJ, for that tip.
You're
I'm going to
welcome.
use that one.
Yeah.
So it's the eye.
It's
So
like
it's the
a French
white
manicure
eyeliner.
under your nail.
Yes, it cleans. It's like all that. Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
there's stains, right?
Yeah, of
If you have
course.
some stains under your nail from something you ate,
Like an
or
orange, like peeling an
you were in
orange.
the garden. I did notice you were on Barry, that show Barry. What were you doing on that show?
Those were more stunts. Well, not much acting, but I mean, stunts is acting. I mean, everything that on camera it has to do with something with acting. I did have to, shoot a couple guns, things like that of that nature, and like do fall prats on a mat. And I've done quite a few of those. Maybe because of the hand modeling thing, I had to learn how to shoot a gun for a client. And then from there, it went into an acting. Besides, just doing the modeling part of like holding a gun. And then now, since I had that experience, it pulled me into acting, and now I'm doing stunts for body doubles, shooting guns and things like that that they don't need their face. And there I am, and there I was.
Now, do you have to be certified in armed
Not if there's
training or something?
not if there's a person on set, which most of the time, and of course now because of incidents,
Right.
there's more presence of people, making sure you're handling the tools or whatever is being used on set, especially firearms. So you always have to, be mindful of what you're doing and who you're pointing at to, and even though it's a fake gun, they always say, don't ever point it at anybody, not even at
Correct.
yourself, even if it's fake.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you only need to be certified if you're a person that is specifically hired to watch over the talent.
Like supervisory
Correct.
position on set with the arms.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just you're just an actor doing actor things.
So you do stunts with that, and now the stunt work that you do with your body. I'm sure the dancing helps, and although
Oh yeah, I've been in pretzel mode. Like I've been in trunks of cars for commercials, just sticking out my hand. So lots of the dancing and the stretching and the yoga and all of that good stuff that I've done has helped me, get into like small places. Yeah, usually success people thinks, oh, it's like, oh, I have a degree now, or that's your success. Success is getting that degree in whatever you're trying to do and actually putting it to work. That's what success is. I feel like, but like for an artist, for me, it feels like learning something new every day that contributes to your success, whatever it may bring you to. Even if you're not doing anything or not on set at that day, as long as you're actively learning and contributing, uh, your talent to other people to inspire, that's always successful too.
I agree with you, inspiration, and that's why this podcast is so exciting because your story is so inspiring.
Thank you.
And that you do accept the no's. The no's is part of your journey.
It has to be.
So confess your challenges.
Uh-oh.
What are some of the challenges in your career field?
I would say I know a lot of people like think that this past generation or current generation is so addicted to say, "Oh, I have ADHD." Oh, just things like that nature. But um, going back to being born and raised in LA, I saw the Rodney King. I went through the whole Koreatown, like owners with rifles on top of the rooftops. I've seen, businesses going up in flames during like I was like 5, 6 years old.
Oh, so you actually saw this. You actually saw
Yes,
the Rodney King
yes.
incident, not on TV.
No,
Oh,
I was in the middle of the whole thing, and we had to be evacuated. Go to Orange County with my aunt, things like that. And then there was the Northridge earthquake that I like went through as well. It was like I was a young kid. That gave me like so much anxiety. We had to move out as well and relocate. And then my brother's murder, which, impacted me a lot, especially when he was trying to bring me in entertainment.
I am so sorry for your brother.
All those experiences had led me to have attention deficit disorder. And hard to concentrate. I went to school, it was really hard. So I think that was like one of my challenges, my biggest challenges, to be able to be in the moment because I was so afraid of not to be. And being in the moment as an artist is the most special thing that you have and could bring to someone or to yourself at the very minimum. So being in the moment and taking a deep breath, sometimes we forget to do that. So if you join me, take a deep breath, and then you're back in the moment.
I'm so with you on that. I need to take more. I find I breathe shallow,
Hmm.
and I do have to remind myself to take a deep breath.
I absolutely forget as well. I'm like, why am I so tense? Why am I, even working out? I started working out recently, back in the gym or whatnot, and I'm like, this is what it feels like. This is, you know, a breath of fresh air.
It really does calm those chemicals in the brain.
Oh, definitely.
Do you meditate?
I do. I
Okay.
do. I do. Especially in the summer, I garden a lot, and every time that you give back to nature and you respect nature, it gives you some strange power in you to to have that tranquility. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, I'm like Spanglish over here. I'm like my first
That's
language is
okay.
Spanish, and I'm like most of the time I could express myself best in Spanish.
Now, you did talk to me off camera and off the mic about some of the challenges with modeling where you had to learn different techniques or learn different skill sets.
Hmm.
What were some of the challenges with learning on set? You were telling me some stories about some interesting things.
Yeah, I love cooking, but I've never worked at a restaurant. I've never been a server. Not to lower anybody that's done those type of jobs, but I've had to learn tabletop skills. I've gone to the Cordon Bleu when it was in Pasadena just to learn how to chop vegetables, or cut or fillet a fish or whatnot. Certain skills I had to acquire to do, hand modeling, hand commercials, and things like that. But there was also an instance where I had to be in an all white suit, anti flammable suit, so I won't catch on fire. I had to be dangled pretty much on top of a grill, a live flaming grill, and flipping chicken over. So, afraid of heights, afraid of flames, all of that is kind of like you have to meditate before doing those type of jobs so you won't mess up.
Very physical.
Yeah.
I thought hand modeling was really like easy. Just put your hand out there, maybe
No.
eating with a fork, but you were
M-
doing some interesting things
Oh
with your
yeah.
hands.
There's like I work with animals too, like feeding like ice cream to a lion.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Were you
there's
scared?
uh yeah. But I mean there was animal trainers there too. So they made us comfortable enough, and they were trained. But you never know animal instincts, especially with ice cream in front of them. I don't know.
You just have to be careful.
Right. So there's a lot of I've been fortunate enough to be not just a pretty hand of just showcasing a nail polish or like a hand cream, but different situations where even being a puppeteer, holding sticks for like a, a client and then just using my hands as a puppeteer. But there's a lot that goes into hand modeling, you
I did
know,
not know that, but
tearing
now
a
I do.
tearing a chicken strip while it's hot. It's pretty hard. Dipping a chicken nugget to have the perfect sauce on it and not dripping on camera, that's pretty hard. Pulling a pizza, a pizza slice to have the cheese pull perfect perfectly, it's hard.
How many? How many takes does it take? I'm not sure if that sounds right, but what was the most takes you ever had to do for your hands?
I always challenge myself to do like the less takes possible, of course, because time is money for everybody. But at the same time, it's the hardest one that I had to do multiple takes. I would have to say splitting a chicken strip.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted to really like strip and then face out to camera and have it like the little glow inside the chicken strip and then have this, mind you, it's hot, and you have another guy with like a steamer like to add steam to it. So in multiple takes, of course I'm gonna get burned. Those steamers that they use, for clothing or whatever, they'll have an extra steamer just to make it seem like it's like chicken strip
Right.
beautifully like being teared.
It's the experience
Yes.
of eating the chicken strip.
And the last Super Bowl, I had done a commercial for Pepsi, and it came out during the Super Bowl, and that was awesome. And I had done one for Diet Coke for the Oscars about 4 years ago. So that was cool when those come out while these big TV shows come out. You just see a hand, but
Yeah, you've done how many national commercials?
honestly, I've lost
Like
count to this
200
point.
or something?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
200 commercials just with hands.
Just with hands. So
Just with
your
hands.
career has been really, so your success, as you
Hmm.
said, is that you're continuously working
Somehow in the business.
somehow in the business
That's
because
one
you're,
way or another.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I like that because you have to learn new skill sets and you understand that, you have the hand modeling, but it's not always going to be gravy all the time.
Right.
Then you got acting going on
Hmm.
and you got stunt going on. So you're very versatile. In being that you have to be in this business to continue on and moving upward.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, and wherever your career is, whoever's watching, like I mentioned, as long as you're active in the entertainment industry, you're always going to learn new skills that you could take somewhere else. And those skills, as long as you keep learning and educating yourself, and that's going to always take you somewhere else in the business. Don't expect to only be an actor, only be a model, or only be a dancer. Why not be all of them, in a sense? So keep pushing through and you'll get to where your destiny, is meant for you.
So are you a little frustrated when you see your commercials and hands and no one really knows who you are? Like your hand, but you're like you were saying you were on the Super Bowl and your guys, there I am, and they're like, what?
Yeah,
Because it's your hand, it's not your face.
there's actually just one friend of mine. She's one of my best friends, and my mom that knows like how my nail looks, like the bed of my nail. So I don't know how they know, but they catch me a couple times. And the great thing about hand modeling is that you have no conflicts. It's not like your face, it's just a hand. So you could work for multiple clients. I don't get frustrated if nobody could like see who I am or recognizes me from a commercial or whatever. I'm like, I'm blessed not to be able to be recognizable, but blessed enough to be non-recognizable because I have no conflicts.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good thing in your
yeah,
business.
yeah.
So that means your competitors, that's right, because you work for Lexus, you work for Toyota, you worked for Honda.
Honda. I've worked for Samsung. I've worked for all the different foods, Carl's Jr., McDonald's, Pizza Hut,
So
and
for hand modeling, there's no conflicts. It's only your face, not body parts.
body parts. You have no conflicts.
That's good information.
Yeah.
That's a nugget of
So
a
that's
tip.
that's why I was able to keep working because I'm like, I have no conflicts. I could work for A, B, and C, and at the same time when the commercials could be out, and then I'm on to something else.
I know that because I know for commercials, if you ever do a commercial, you can't, once you do it for, and like one company like Toyota, for instance, you have you sign a contract that you
Mhm.
can't do you can't do a commercial for your
A competitor.
for a competitor. So in this case, with hand modeling or body parts, that there is no such contract, it sounds like here.
Right. So if you book a national commercial, for instance, you're out for whatever time they buy you out for. It could be a year, it could be 5 years, and then you can't do any of those competitors. So therefore, you're most of the time you can't book another commercial because it's just a conflict. Even for your voice, sometimes they do voiceovers during like car commercials or whatever. So nobody could use your voice because there's a conflict. It just is that doesn't have to be your face. So that's the thing that with acting or actors here, even for myself, it's like great that you booked a national commercial, but you can't work for anybody else
For that,
for that period,
yeah.
for that term.
And I'm just so happy to have you here, JJ. And I know when I first met you, you just had this light with, it sparked in you. So I know you're going to do great in whatever you do. Okay. This was fun.
Yeah, I would love to do it again and maybe come back with more successes to share.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have to keep going and do what we do and enjoy doing what we do. And that's success in itself, everyone. That's what I think. But don't compare your successes to other people because your
No,
journey is not the same as others. So I'm so glad you're here
absolutely.
today. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you for having me. Should I do this instead?
Your hand. He's showing everyone on our video the hand. Give the hand.
Yeah.
Not the finger.
Not the
hand.
finger, the hand.
He'll give the hand. But remember, folks, kindness still matters. Good day.
Catherine?
I feel like there's something else that needs to be said instead of I've been waiting 23 years for this.
What do you want to say? Because you can add the lines however you want. Like, this is for both of us.
Do I know your name yet, Danielle? I mean, when she says Catherine, I could say